What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Saturday morning so far. NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I've been one of the people that's been bashing the Mets for pretty much the beginning of the season for warranted reasons because this team couldn't get out of their own way. They couldn't hit. They still can't pitch, even after yesterday. But I will admit, this team is starting to show some grit. This team is starting to show some fortitude. And you might as well start calling this team the comeback kids. Because they did it again, not once, but twice last night. Twice last night. After being down in the bottom of the 7th inning by the score of 7-3. And the Mets found a way due to Pete Alonso, and then getting into extra innings when they were down 9-8 in the extra innings. Actually, it was 9-7. The New York Mets kids, whom they brought up from AAA, Baty, Mark Vientos, and Francisco Alvarez. Those three kids that they brought up from AAA, all three of them had big hits last night. Baty had a monster home run in the bottom of the 6th. That's his 4th of the season already. Then, Francisco Alvarez, he already homered in the bottom of the 5th inning to left center field to get the Mets on the board with 1 run. Alvarez, once again, just like he did last night, a couple of nights ago, he played hero once again in the bottom of the 10th inning. After Vientos hit a big single to score Baty, Alvarez was able to knock in the game-tying home run or game-tying single to score Eduardo Escobar in the bottom of the 10th inning. And then, lo and behold, the former Cleveland Guardian / Indian, Francisco Lindor, gets the game-winning hit in the bottom of the 10th inning. And the New York Mets win this game against the Cleveland Guardians by the final score of 10-9. And the Mets are back at 500. Now, the pitching was bad. The pitching was not great, except for about a couple of innings in the bullpen. Starting pitching once again for the New York Mets, just getting the bad out of the way first. Starting pitching once again is a disaster. Carrasco comes back after being on the injured list from elbow inflammation, and he pretty much goes out there and he no-shows. He had 5 innings in work, giving up 5 hits, 5 earned runs, and he also walked 2 and struck out 3, and he gave up a home run to Naylor of the Cleveland Guardians in the top of the 1st inning. So Carrasco was not good at all. But this is a credit and a kudos to the New York Mets lineup. And namely, Pete Alonso, who has been homering consistently one after another after another after another. This is the 3rd game in a row where Pete Alonso has hit a home run. And it was a big one, too. That game-tying 3-run home run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jeff McNeil also had another key hit. But for me, it starts off first. Francisco Lindor getting that big single against his former team to win the game. But for me, more importantly, the one thing the New York Mets fans have been screaming about for days, for weeks. Bring up the kids. Bring up the kids. Bring up the kids. And what ended up happening? Lo and behold, the kids won this game, essentially. Baty, 2 hits last night, including a home run in the bottom of the 7th. The bottom of the 6th. Mark Vientos, hits a big single in the bottom of the ninth to get the Mets in position to tie this game, or bottom of the 10th. And Francisco Alvarez, who for the second night in a row got a big game-tying hit. And Alvarez, Vientos, and Baty. You're watching the future of this team. Vientos at designated hitter. He's pretty much taking over for Vogelback. Baty at third base, and Alvarez at catcher. Those three players had a combined 5 hits, and 6 home run and 4 RBIs last night for the Mets. 4 of the 10 RBIs went to Baty, Alvarez, and Vientos. And this Mets team now is starting to catch a little bit of rhythm. That's the 3rd win in a row. Though they're not going to go anywhere they want to go until the starting pitching starts turning things around. Because like I mentioned, this is another disastrous starting pitching performance by the Mets, namely Carlos Carrasco. They need to get better starting pitching. But at least it's somewhat of a sign that this team is starting to turn things around. And it has a lot to do with the lineup, and it has a lot to do with the fact that this baseball team is going out there, and they are a team that you think you got them down, and even when you think you have them beat, they're going out there and they're getting big-time hits to put this team over the top. And it's not even just their veterans getting it done. It's the young players going out there and getting it done. Like I said, when you have guys like Francisco Alvarez, Brett Baty, and Mark Vientos getting the big hits on your baseball team, you're doing something right. And yesterday was such a good win by the Mets. When they couldn't pitch their way out of a paper bag for the first couple of innings. And you got good quality innings, overall at least, from Tommy Hunter, Adam Ottavino, and David Robertson. Even when Drew Smith gave up that big RBI in the top of the 10th inning to Arias when he hit a home run, the Mets still had enough grit to come back in the bottom of the 9th inning and pull out the victory at home in front of CitiField due to their young players, Vientos and Alvarez, and of course, Francisco Lindor getting the big hit against his former team. New York Mets are they're starting to turn in the corner, and a lot of it has to do with the fact they brought up their kids, and the young kids are getting the job done. And now, starting tonight, Tanner Beebe is going to be on the mound for the Indians. He's 1-1 with a 3.28 ERA, 3.22, against Max Scherzer, who actually had a very good pitching performance last time he pitched. And now it's an opportunity for him to pitch the Mets back over 500 at 24-23. Hopefully he could do that. But either way, great win by the New York Mets last night. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news, updates, and chatter surrounding the New York Mets. Turn on the bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Mets. If you enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to hit that super thanks. Shows your appreciation and love and support for the channel. And as always, thank you guys for the support you give me. And let me know in the comment section what you thought about yesterday's New York Mets come from behind victory. Not once, but twice. And your state of the Mets as the Mets are back at 500, 23-23, and they get ready for this afternoon's game against the Cleveland Guardians. Max Scherzer on the mound at CitiField against Tanner Beebe. Let's see if the New York Mets can make it 4 in a row, and they can finally get back over 500 on the Major League Baseball season. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Mets as always. All you got to do is you got to believe in those boys from Queens.